Alright guys, I hate to give you bad news this early into the build, but we've hit a major setback with the Corolla project. The hood release is broken. I don't know what we're going to do with that. I guess put it with the rest of the interior. Okay guys, welcome back to the Golden Door Garage. So, we last left off with we needed an oil pan for the LS swap into the Corolla. Previous pan was a rear sump, as seen here. New pan, front sump. Ta-da! So, by having the front sump pan, it will let the oil pan sit much further down, giving us the room we need. So, I'm in the process of swapping this out. I've already changed the pickup tube from the rear pickup to the front, and now we're going to put a gasket on and stick this thing in there and see where it lines up as far as motor mounts to K-frame. Wish us luck. Okay, come on in. Okay. Wow, what a difference did that new oil pan make. Check that out, guys. The oil pan clears the K-frame here in the back, clears the anti-roll bar in the front, and is going to be ideal. So, at this point, I need motor mounts. Now, the original factory motor mounts do not fit in there at this point and don't line up with the K-frame in the car. So, if you look down here, I've taken some 1/2-inch square stock, laid it down, and got a piece of 1/4-inch plate set on top of that. That's gotten me level with the back of the steering rack. Then I took a 1/2-inch piece of bar stock again, laid it on top, and that's given me the spacing so that the oil pan is not resting on the steering rack. From here, I can go ahead and build my motor mounts. So first step is going to be to go ahead and get the existing motor mounts cut apart so that we can reuse the section of it that actually bolts to the block. All right. We need some motor mounts. So I'm going to start with the original LS motor mounts, cut them apart, and see what we can come up with. So we cut the motor mounts in half, pulled the section that actually bolts to the block off, put them back on the engine, set the engine back in the car, and got it positioned using some small stock underneath. You can look down here and you can see I've got some 1/2-inch bar stock, some 1/4-inch plate. Got that stuff stacked where I want it so that I have clearance for the K-frame off the oil pan. Then I used floor jack and a block of wood to get the front set where I want it. I have it set back in there at the correct depth, and it is squared up. So, with all of that, now, with that plate put on the block, I built a plate right here. It's going to go to the original K-frame. It lines up on there, and then this is what I'm going to have to go make next. This piece will come in right there, filling the gap. So I'll cut this using the CNC, program it into the mini CAD, get this cut, tack this on, do the same on the opposite side, and then I can brace the motor mounts up after I have them and everything is set in its correct position. And then hopefully we can take the stock out from underneath and the engine will stay in the orientation and location that we want, so everything is clear. Made some templates using a couple pieces of cardboard. Those are the next pieces I need for my motor mounts. I've drawn them up on the mini CAD. Go ahead and I can export those, load them in, set my 0 point, and then I am ready to cut. All right, plates are set and tucked in. Time to tack them in place, then we can pull it out, seam everything out. Welding the motor mounts is going well. All right, all welded up. Had a little bit of fire issues with some of the rubber that was still on there. Hopefully after I get them fitted, we can take care of that and make these things real pretty. Let's put them in and see if they work. All right, I have them in. They seem to fit just fine. Obviously there's some trimming to be done still on both sides, but they work and the engine is solid. It's not going to go anywhere. So very happy with that. I will pull those back out here in a little bit after we pull the engine out and get those finished up with some powder coating. But while this is sitting here, we do get to have some exciting stuff because I also got a box of cool new shiny parts. And well, obviously those have to get placed in here almost immediately. So let's do the movie magic here. Shiny intake. Bam! Yeah, look at that. Awesome sheet metal intake with 102 millimeter throttle body. That should keep this thing fed up top. Also have fuel rails, and I think I'm going to run some stock injectors at least to get this thing going, and then we'll figure out from there what do we need for injector to support boost. Okay, so the intake looks awesome on there, but now I've put the exhaust manifolds on. Look at that. This thing looks like a really serious piece. And I would like to say, the car gods are smiling on us because that brake line is the factory design. For some reason, when they built this car, they just knew that we were going to want to build a turbo coffin out of it and stick a 5.3 in here. So they purposely kinked that line just to perfectly clear stock manifolds. It's like it's meant to be. I mean, that's got to be a sign of success. So I guess the only thing left now is to put some more parts in. Okay, one last piece for the mock-up, and that would be this huge 50-pound Garrett turbocharger. That is a Garrett TMF55. It has a larger exhaust housing than we really need. It is typically found on a Detroit 60 series diesel. 12.7 to 14 liters, I believe. But it's what we've got and it's what we're going to work with. This is why it's called the turbo coffin, is because that turbo is big enough to kill us. That turbo is going to be a little slow to spool because of how big the exhaust side is on it, but we will make that work. So there's the mock-up on that, and where it exactly mounts, we'll figure that out. Probably a little further out, we'll see, but it should be pretty awesome. Now, if you notice over here, there's a big pile of stuff. Well, that's all of the interior. I didn't film pulling out the rest of it because you guys already saw us wash it, and somebody had previously stripped the car before that. But we still were able to remove that much more. The reason we needed to do that was in here. Now we have access to the firewall because we need to cut this trans tunnel and the firewall to make room for our transmission, because the trans tunnel is awful low in this car from the original 4-cylinder with small transmission. So we're going to have to make some adjustments to make that happen, but we will get after that next, start disassembling this. And I think real quick we'll also run back here and take a look at one more box of new parts that showed up that should be some of our fuel system. Yes. We have parts. That's just some tools and stuff, but this is going to be for the Corolla. This would be our 15-gallon fuel cell. So that will get put in here before long. Braided lines. There's some AN fittings down in there, it looks like. Hopefully we can get that all in the trunk. I'll go ahead and pull the few miscellaneous pieces that are in here out, and then probably build a block-off plate for the spare tire carrier, and I got to get underneath and remove the original fuel cell. Okay, so I took the motor mounts after I had cut the excess material off of them, ground on them a little bit to make sure the edges were smoothed out, and threw them in the sandblaster here so that I could strip all of the rust and what little rubber was left on them and get these all ready to powder coat. So they look good in this beautiful car. Okay, motor mounts have been sandblasted. I cut on them a little bit to clean them up. I'm gonna go ahead and toss them in the oven here, let them off gas for a little while, and then get them coated up so they look good. Okay, all finished up out of the oven and cool. These are our motor mounts, powder coated up. We went with a cherry flavor on these because, well, it's what was in the machine, and it'll match the turbo and look good. Okay guys, real quick, I want to interject and say thank you so much. So part 1 was our most successful video ever. We broke 100 subscribers and I was just thrilled. So thank you to everyone that watched the video and is checking it out. Thank you for you guys that are liking, following, subscribing, leaving comments. That helps us a huge amount. And we want to see this channel grow, and we appreciate all the support. But real quick, we've got a problem with these motor mounts. They're really pretty and nice, and they definitely don't look like they belong on this car. Yeah. So I guess part 3, we're gonna have to detail out this engine bay, modify that firewall so we can put a transmission in, and probably tear apart this motor and clean it up and doll it up so that it looks the way it's gonna run, which is gonna be awesome. Can't wait for that. I'll see you guys next time. Thank you. And follow the Golden Door Garage on Facebook, Instagram, and here on YouTube.